guys ready to go?
We are.
Okay, let's begin the meeting of the West Haymarket Joint Public Agency. With me are Tim Clare and Carl Eskridge, are my usual co-conspirators in this matter. My name is Chris Beitler, for the record. The open meetings law is posted at the rear of the room for those who may be interested in that law. We invite public comment. We ask that people limit themselves to 5 minutes on specific items, and that those who testify identify themselves for the official record. With that, gentlemen, unless you have preliminary comments of any sort, we'll dig into the agenda and start with agenda item number 3, approval of the minutes from the JPA meeting held March 24th, 2016. Approval has been, motion's been made.
And second?
Seconded. Is there any further discussion? Call the roll, please.
Eskridge?
Yes.
Clare?
Yes.
Beitler?
Yes. Agenda item number 3 is approved. Agenda item number 4, approval of the March and April 2016 payment registers. Steve Hupka will present those.
Yes, Steve Hupka, City Finance Director. For the month of March, we have payment registers for the operating budget and Phase 1 project budget, $2,985,628. The one thing that is unusual that's on here, it's a one-time item. It's the payment from the JPA for the Breslow Ice Center to the university. They provided us the documentation to justify making that payment, and obviously the Ice Center is open and payment was made out of the JPA funds in March. Other than that, I think most everything on there is fairly routine or at least small in value. We had the operating increment to the arena and the sponsorships were probably the two other biggest items on that month's payment register. And for April, the amount was only $600,356. And again, once again, that's for the operating budget and Phase 1 project budget. The biggest single item on that pay register is a progress payment to Ed Carpenter for the artwork. Are there any questions?
Okay, questions of Steve?
Steve, where do we stand financially with the any contingency and in both our operating budget and just general financial status? Where are we still under budget?
Yes, we're under budget. One of the items coming up before you here later is a cost which will come out of the operating budget. It appears like we may be able to cover that cost under the existing operating budget, but it was something we had not planned on when we did the budget. So as long as we can cover that before the end of the year, we'll be fine. If not, we'll have to come back to you for an amendment for the operating budget to cover that. But other than that, we're in good shape financially.
Are you going to talk about revenues?
I wasn't prepared to talk about it, but other than they're still coming in good. I mean, we're still exceeding what's built into our cash flow of 2%. It's coming in better than that significantly.
Other questions of Steve?
No.
Thank you, Steve. Is there any public comment on the approval of the March and April 2016 payment registers? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Further comment? Call the roll, please.
Eskridge?
Yes.
Clare?
Yes.
Beitler?
Yes. Agenda item number 4 has been approved. Agenda item number 5, review of the March and April 2016 expenditure reports. Again, Steve Hupka.
Yes, once again, these expenditure reports just reflect the activity, the financial activity that was shown in detail on the payment register. Region Claire, you asked about contingency money, and the arena contingency, there's $1,923,000 still reflected on this report. And then there's the other contingency money that is not on here, but we would move up into the budget if we were to use that. And that's a much larger amount.
Just wanted to make sure I understood that.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Other questions of Steve? Seeing none, is there public comment on agenda item number 5? Seeing none, no motion is required on this particular agenda item, so we'll move on to agenda item number 6, Resolution WH16-5, to authorize the issuance of a purchase order with regard to the furnishing of a skating subfloor. Steve Hubka, you're totally on call today, Steve.
Coming up is Tom Lorenz, General Manager of Pinnacle Banker.
Good afternoon.
Tom, welcome.
Yeah, this would authorize the purchase of a subfloor for, I think it's $130,500 on your agenda. It's out for bid right now, and it will be published in the paper as well on Monday. The first use of this would be to bring roller skating back to Lincoln at Sporting Village. At the end of, or in July, this floor would protect the turf that they have there, and more importantly, for your consideration, there's a number of uses that the subfloor will have for the arena and festival lot and Pinewood Bowl, and I'll let Tom cover that.
Good afternoon. Yeah, the turf-made floor will be approximately 240 feet by 176 feet. It's about 42,000 square feet. And certainly that first usage is to cover turf and allow us the opportunity then to put the city's USA Roller Sports floor on top of that. The city, back in the 80s, purchased a floor that's approximately 90 by 180. It's been used for USA Roller Sports competition for multiple years. They also have a practice floor, and then both floors will be able to fit on there, protect the turf, and that event with a significant economic impact will be able to come back to the city, and that significant impact is somewhere in the area of $5 million per year per event. So it's a great use to start with, but we'll have multiple uses for that floor beyond that. Subfloor for dance and cheer competition, if we choose to do it either at Pinnacle Bank Arena, gives just a little bit of give on the floor. It's a little bit better area for them to dance on. We can still take it to an off-site area for where there's turf. We'll certainly use this at Pinewood Bowl. As you see, our Pinewood Bowl schedule has expanded significantly, and these pieces of subfloor will be able to go down and protect not only the turf there, but the dirt. They're very temporary operate type of things. But if we had something where it was wet or we were worrying about some use on there, we always want to have minimum impact on the bowl, so we'll be able to use that out there at the bowl for that, for chair sets, vehicle access paths, moving equipment, or creating special needs areas, backstage for load-in, underneath tents. All those opportunities exist for us. We also do multiple events in the building, and a couple would be just dirt for USA Rollers, or dirt for Monster Jam or dirt for rodeo. And again, this subflooring allows us to put some paths on that if we need to get special needs, if we need to move equipment. It allows us to put a solid footing there so that we can get access out onto those surfaces. And then last but certainly not least, we have the basketball floor down for a significant amount of the year. And there are times when we need to quickly turn over and cover that floor to protect it for something like we may have an event on a Wednesday night, a basketball game, and say on Thursday we need to do the Elks Children program. So instead of taking the floor completely out or covering with a carpet, we can put a very light covering over it, put this subfloor down. It'll protect that. It goes down quickly, comes up quickly, and allows us multiple uses there. So essentially, this is a great investment in an asset. Certainly allows us to keep USA Roller Sports here, but we have many, many uses for that asset. It is such that it lasts at least 10 years. You know, they're talking about 15 or 20 years on continuous use. Well, this will be an asset that will be useful for not only Pinnacle Bank Arena and the city for many, many years to come. So I think it's a great investment, and thank you for the opportunity to take it to you.
Okay, questions of Tom or Steve? Tim?
Maybe I misheard Steve's introduction, but did you say that we don't have the roller sports and we're going to bid it? Or is it coming here?
It's coming.
Because I'm interested in helping, but I want to also make sure that we're going to get the.
It's coming here. It'll be in July. They'll have 4 different. They've added, in fact, 2 new areas. It used to be just speed and artistic. They've now added roller derby and also a slalom competition. So it'll be here for over 30 days, and it has. Those are really all out of town folks that come to this,
Right.
so it has a great impact.
Okay, I didn't know if we were making the investment and hoping that they were coming. So
No.
they're coming, and this
It's
is
coming.
I got you. All
You
right.
bet.
The bid I was referring to was bidding the product itself.
Oh, I misunderstood you. My apologies.
Okay, are there additional questions? Gentlemen, thank you. Is there public comment on this particular item? Seeing none, is there a motion
So
on
moved.
WH 16-5? I assume the motion is to approve.
Yes.
Is there a
Second? Yes.
Moved and seconded. Any further comment? Call the roll.
Eskridge?
Yes.
Claire?
Yes.
Whitler?
Yes. WH 16-5 is approved. We'll move on to agenda item number 7, resolution WH 16-6, authorizing entering into a contract with the lowest responsible bidder for some remediation and other work on the Ultra South site. Adam and Rick, you're presenting this to us?
Yeah, Rick Pay from State Law Department. And I believe a motion to amend to adopt a substitute resolution has been handed out. The substitute resolution actually authorizes the award of a contract to HIS Constructors, Inc. The bids have come in since the agenda was submitted, so we don't have to ask for you to approve an unknown contractor. We have one identified who's been selected and recommended for approval. So therefore, you have a contract before you, which is under our standard agreement format, and would ask for you to approve that. I think Adam's here to describe the nature of the work and how it'll be taking place.
Good afternoon, Adam Hobel-Heinrich with Project Control and PC Sports. We started looking at this property for the environmental side of things probably almost 2 years ago now. The JPA actually applied for a brownfields grant for the property to help make it so it can be developable later on. JPA did receive that. It was divvied up. It was $400,000. $200,000 went to the north side of N Street, and the other $200,000 is applied to this portion of the property, which is south of N. It's a piece of property roughly in a triangular shape where altar scrap metal used to be prior to the development. The process for environmental remediation is similar to what we did on the north side. The contractor will come in and remove some hot spots, which are some areas of higher contamination. They will haul that soil all the way to a landfill that can handle those type of soils. And then the remaining soil on the site has to be either capped, or if any of it cannot stay on site, it has to be hauled to a local landfill. Those are the soils with lower levels of contamination. So the project in general is to remove the hot spots, do some general grading, and over the entire site. Hope the Elmo's working good. So that we meet the requirements of NDEQ and EPA. And then a 3-foot cap is needed on all of the site. And prior to putting the cap on, we put what's called a visual barrier down so that if anybody digs down to a certain level, it's obvious they need to address the soil differently. And that's all part of what we've done with all the different properties in the West Haymarket that have been redeveloped. The south side of the south side of the property has been planned for green space, so that area is only going to get capped. There are some additional funds needed to make the soil what we call pad ready on the north side of the site, and that is an area that has been designated for development. The city actually had an IFRP out, the Urban Development Department did for that property. It came in today with 2 proposers to develop that property already. So in order to get that site pad ready, some additional over excavation, recompaction, and also some additional haul off of soils has to occur to make sure that when a slab of concrete or street or something like that is put on the property parking lot, it won't crack. So additional geotechnical work with that. We did do some work with our geotech and found a way to save some additional funds on this. So we're hauling off less soil than we had to originally, which is a good deal at the amount we have to pay to haul it off. So overall, the project contains 2 things. There's the environmental side, which is required, what we have to do to meet the requirements of NDEQ and EPA. And that comes in roughly at a little under 2 million or 1.2 million of the overall cost of $3,462,092, and then the other $2,272,000, roughly around there, is for the additional work to make the site pad ready. When you take that over the total square footage, it's spending that money to make it pad ready is about $8.50 a square foot, and land sales for JPA land prior to today have all been above $15 a square foot, 15 or above $15 a square foot. So it's an investment in the property. The JPA should get their money back or more when they sell the land. So that opens it up for development. Is there any questions? Yep, go ahead.
All right.
Yeah. So Adam, you mentioned that something was done to require less hauling off of dirt. Could you talk a little bit about what was done and what's the cost savings and hauling less dirt away?
At one point in the design, we had a plan to haul off the soil that wasn't quite what it needed to be in order to meet the requirements for the pad ready site. We circled back with the geotech and asked them if there was a way that we could add clay, in this case, better soils, and mix it in to achieve that. And that significantly reduced the amount of soil we have to haul off. Every ton of soil that we haul off has to go to a landfill, which costs roughly $34, I guess, according to the unit rates of this contract, $34 a ton, which can add up quickly when you're talking about something like soil, especially over an area that size. So our engineer's estimate went from 4.1 to 3.5, and this bid came under our engineer's estimate by doing that. So it was a significant savings to the project.
So when you haul soil away, where does it get hauled to?
In this case, it either goes to the city landfill or an associated landfill, which or a similar landfill. In this case, I think they're planning on hauling it to the Milford landfill. The city has occupation taxes that have to be paid no matter where it goes. So a part of that $34 a ton is, I think, $11 in occupation tax. So they have to pay that no matter where they take it. HIS Constructors is an out-of-town contractor. They're from Indiana. They do this work all over the country. We've kind of looked into them since they've bid. And they are hiring several local firms to do the majority of the work. So that's a big reason why they're competitive.
Okay, thank you.
But to Carl's point, I think where it will be hauled, that's going to be consistent with the environmental rules, either state or federal as well. So it's not like we're taking it someplace and just dumping it in the field.
Yes, and that's I'm not the environmental expert as far as those things go, but they are the safest place for the soil to be, so they know it doesn't get hauled again someplace else, is the landfill. It's to its final resting place, and that's the reason why they would like us to take it there.
And consistent with the theme throughout on this project, it sounds like local contractors are gonna be used.
Yep.
Okay, is there further comment or questions? Adam, thank you very much. Is there public comment on WH 16-6? Seeing none. Rick, could you come back up here and instruct me on the proper motions here on this one so we get it straight?
I think you would move the resolution in the original agenda, which was to approve a generic authorization to sign an agreement, and then move to amend that to adopt the substitute resolution.
Okay. Do I have a motion to adopt WH 16-6?
So move.
Been moved and seconded. Is there a further motion to adopt the substitute resolution? Is that correct, Rick? Okay.
Motion to amend?
Yeah,
That's
motion to
before
amend,
us.
number
Motion to
one
amend.
does that.
So moved.
Motion to amend number 1, okay. Seconded?
Yes. Sorry.
Moved and seconded to amend. Is there comment on the motion? If not, call the roll on the motion to amend.
Eskridge,
Yes.
Claire,
Yes.
Beitler,
Yes, the motion to amend has been adopted on the main resolution then as amended. Is there a motion to approve?
I think we've done that, I think, haven't we? Yeah.
Just need to call the roll.
Just call the-
Call the roll on the motion? Okay,
Okay.
call the roll.
Eskridge,
Yes.
Claire,
Yes.
Beitler.
Yes, it is adopted. Agenda item number 8, next meeting date will be Thursday, June 23rd, 2016 at 2:30 PM in the City County Building, Council Chambers, first floor, unless there's objection. Does that suit you
great.
guys?
Thank you.
Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded to adjourn. Call the roll.
Eskridge,
Yes.
Claire,
Yes.
Beitler.
Yes, we are adjourned.